Well, hello everybody out there, and welcome to another episode of Movie Passion. And in today's video we're going to take a look at one of the most strangest science fiction movies I have ever seen, Immortal at Vitam. Now this movie is based on a graphic novel trilogy called Nicopol, and it's one of those movies that you either love or hate. And I'm pretty sure if you hate this movie, it's probably because of those really cheap looking CGI effects. I mean, even I had to get used to them, and I am somebody who really loves this movie. And it definitely doesn't help that we have real life actors right next to really fake looking CGI characters. I mean, seriously, what were they thinking? I always thought that they did it because they didn't have enough money to hire all these actors or enough actors. But there is also this theory that they did it on purpose in order to show who is pure and who isn't. Because in this future, most people seem to have some kind of body modifications, and yeah, therefore they aren't pure. And the people that are being played by real life actors, well, they don't seem to have some kind of a body modification, so therefore they are still pure. So maybe that's the reason. So what is this movie all about? The story is extremely crazy. The movie takes place in New York in the year 2095, and for some reason there is a weird hovering or floating pyramid, and inside this pyramid are Egyptian gods. And one of those gods, Horus, is kind of sentenced to death because he has been rebelling of some sort. So now he gets 7 days to see the earth once more, or once again, whatever you might call it. And he's using those 7 days in order to find a very special woman that he can have sex with so that his legacy lives on. Totally normal stuff. And that woman is Jill. Jill is very special because she's not human. She is a really incredibly rare alien species. Nobody knows who they are or where they come from. Even she doesn't know who she is. But for some reason she has the ability to shoot fireballs out of her hand. And she also has another incredibly rare ability, the ability to procreate with gods. That's why Horus wants to find her. But before he goes out to find her, he needs to find a human body that he can use as a host, because he needs a human body to have sex with Jill. Because apparently gods have nipples and breasts, but they don't have genitals. I don't know. And, it also makes you wonder, where do these gods even come from in the first place if they need an alien woman and a human body in order to recreate? Where do they even come from? I don't know. It's kind of weird, but whatever. So, yeah, he goes out and he tries on various different bodies. So he's kind of like a spirit possessing all these bodies, but none of those bodies really fits because, they all have some kind of a weird body modification, and therefore they aren't pure enough. And, he jumps from one body to another, and that wouldn't be a problem if those people wouldn't die every time he does that. So every time he exits a body, the body explodes from the inside out. I don't know if he does it just for fun or if this is really the only way how he can exit a body. But yeah, it's kind of very unfortunate. And lucky for him, it's one of those really weird and stupid futures where they have one of the most stupidest inventions ever, a cryo prison. Yes, and if you want to know my thoughts on cryo prisons, just go and watch my video about the movie Demolition Man. This is a video where I rant about how dumb and stupid cryo prisons are. So go over there and watch it, because I don't want to do it all over again. But, the crazy thing is, it's not only a cryo prison, but it's one of the most inefficient cryo prisons ever, because it's a floating cryo prison. As if a cryo prison doesn't consume enough energy as it is. So apparently there is some kind of a malfunction, and one of those cryopods, they fall down and they crack open, and one of those cryopods contains Nikopol. Now Nikopol has apparently been some kind of a rebel in the past, and he did something and he ended up in this cryo prison. So now Horus is using him as a host, but before he can do that, he needs to create a new leg, because Nikopol has lost a leg during this accident. So Horus decides to create a new leg out of a piece of railroad, whatever. And then Nikopol says something that clearly shows that the people behind this movie also don't really know how a cryo prison works, because he says that he has lost a leg, but he has gained a year, because he was supposed to be released in the year 2096. Again, if you are in a cryo prison, you don't really gain or lose time because you don't age. This only applies if there's somebody out there waiting for you, like your parents or your family or loved ones, because then you lose time that you can spend with them. But if you don't have anybody that is waiting for you, and if the day of your death isn't predetermined, you don't gain or lose any time that you can spend in freedom. So yeah. But yeah, Horus is now using Nikopol as a host, and therefore Nikopol also gains a lot of great abilities, like the ability to fly, and apparently he also becomes kind of immortal, hence the title of the movie. So now that Horus has found a human body, he goes out to find Jill. And when he finds her, he is seducing her and kind of forcing her to have sex with her. So yeah, he rapes her. And for some reason he also has the ability to hypnotize her, because for some reason she does exactly what he wants her to. Yeah. And then there is also the mayor, who has a really big problem with the fact that Nikopol is alive, because, apparently there is a feud between those two, and he now sees Nikopol as a threat, even though Nikopol doesn't has any business with the mayor whatsoever. But still the mayor decides to try and kill Nikopol. And then because of all those exploded bodies, there is also this detective, Fröber, and he's probably one of the worst and most useless characters in a movie, because he doesn't contribute anything to the story whatsoever, and he also doesn't do anything. He's just there investigating, but he never figures out anything. So yeah, this is also a character that is worth forgetting. And then there's also John, Jill's friend, who apparently also isn't human, but again, we also don't know what he is. But he's there to help Jill, and for some reason he's giving her pills that are turning her into a human. I don't know why she needs to turn into it. Why she needs to turn into a human, I don't know, but apparently that's the way it is. And there is also this scene that confused probably a lot of people, and it also confused me. There is the scene where Jill goes into some kind of a back room in a hotel or at this bar, but before she goes into this room, she puts on a space suit, because in this room there is John sitting in a chair floating in space. So that's the point where many people probably thought, what the heck is going on? I mean, is there a door to another dimension in the back room of this bar? What the heck happened? But I think I figured it out, because earlier in the movie John said that this planet is rejecting him and that he is dying. So because he's not human, he apparently has problems with whatever it is on planet Earth. I don't know what it is, if it's the gravity or the sunlight or the radiation or the air or the pressure or whatever, but he seems to have a problem with the Earth. So this room it's kind of like a simulation chamber or an isolation chamber that simulates space. So this room is there to shield him or protect him from all those harmful things of this planet. So it's not really space, it's just simulating space, so to say. And yeah, then there is another thing that I don't understand, another problem that I have with this movie. You see, Horus wants to have sex with Jill because Jill is an alien with the ability to procreate with gods. Okay, accepted. But she is taking pills that are turning her into a human. Doesn't that interfere with her ability to procreate with gods only a little bit? I mean, I'm no expert at god sexuality or whatever you might call it, but we know that there are a lot of things that could go wrong even with a normal pregnancy between two humans. And here we have an ancient or Egyptian god that is using a human body in order to impregnate an alien woman right in the middle of her transformation into a human. Well, talking about no risk, no fun, huh? I don't know, but it's really crazy. But, like I said, if you can ignore those crappy CGI effects, it's a really interesting movie, even though the story is kind of really bizarre and sometimes it really doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But it's a great movie, it has great visuals still, and I really like the acting, and I also really love the soundtrack. This movie has also one of the best soundtracks. So yeah, it's a really crazy movie, but it's a very interesting and unique movie, and that's also why I love this movie. So yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, and I hopefully see you in the next episode of Movie Passion or in the next random video. Bye!